Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out Snap Ship Tactics. This game supports 1 to 2 players. It's for ages 14 and up, and the average play time is 30 to 60 minutes. Although, you can expand the game beyond 2 players if you happen to buy some of the expansions. What you're seeing here today is the starter box. This was sent to me courtesy of the company itself, so that was really nice of them. Thank you so much. Hopefully I'll get more in the future. If not, I may end up buying them because so far I'm really liking what I'm seeing. So this is, at least the core set, is a 1v1 dogfighty kind of thing. Think X-Wing from Fantasy Flight, except you've got massive ships and you're going to assemble them before you actually play. Like there's wings that snap off, like all of this came unassembled. So I had to sit here for about 20 minutes per ship and assemble them. And you are given different variants too. So for example, this is the Saber. This is one of the ships that you get with the core set. You can either build it this way, or this way, and it'll give you instructions on how to do that. Take the individual pieces, fit them together. Yeah, it took a while, but especially with these arthritic hands, but so it goes. So there's 2 ships. There's the Saber and there's the Scarab. And this is a look at the Saber. This is my favorite. I love the look at this. And honestly, I mean, you can take parts from like other expansions if you get them. There were other pieces that came with the box, and I'll show you that in a moment. I suppose you could build them any way that you physically want to. The way you build them has no bearing on gameplay, okay? This is more aesthetic. You can, however, equip these ships with various ship parts. And ideally, you want to match, okay, there's wings on this. I need to find the right wing card for that particular part. So you're taking the wing cards, or the ship part cards that you get, and you're, matching them up with what you put on the ship. Ideally, that's how you're supposed to do it. But in theory, these have no, purpose. You don't need them to fire. You don't need that. This is all aesthetic. So you could arrange this any way you want to and then pick various ship parts and then off you go. I do not intend to keep disassembling and reassembling every time I want to try something different. I just physically with my hands can't do that. So I'm going to keep them just with this particular configuration. This is the Scarab. And again, this can be assembled in one of 3 different ways. And I'm sure, again, if you're creative enough, you can come up with your own with the parts that you're given. And here's a quick look at the different configurations on this. You can build like an interceptor, which is what I did. There's a light fighter and the attack striker. And again, there's instructions in the rulebook or on this particular book on how to put everything together. So those are these. Like X-Wing miniatures, the game comes with some obstacles. Unlike X-Wing, however, you're actually rewarded for going into an obstacle. Typically, like an X-Wing, you take damage or roll for damage. In this game, you get a bonus for going into an ice cloud. You get to vent some of your heat, which makes no sense to you right now, but it will when I explain what's going on. And then this one, if you go into an asteroid field, you get a free roll against any missiles that might be after you and other things. They also kind of block line of sight in that they help your evasion score out whenever someone attacks you. So if someone is shooting through one of these obstacles, then you get rewarded in some way. There's I think it's heavy cover and light cover. I don't remember which one is which, but it's in the rulebook and I'll show that in a little bit. On the reverse side are also some other obstacles. So these are double-sided. This is a debris field. This increases your evasion by 1, and whenever you're touching this, you get a free long move, which is a way to maneuver your ship. So there are obstacles that came with this game, and we'll set that up in a little bit. There are also these range rulers. There's range 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this game. So this is range 1, and these are range 2. And it's really all you need, but sometimes you may have to measure for range 3 and 4 because certain, abilities and ship parts require you to be at that long of a range. There are some range rollers that came with the game. There are some dice. I believe they're 8-sided, possibly, maybe 10. Yeah, 10-sided. So this flame is a critical hit. That's the 10, I believe. And there's also a blank on here. So I think the lowest you could actually roll is a 2. So you'll be rolling for damage with that. Down here are some of the different cards that go along with the model. Again, these are like preset builds for these particular models, the different ship parts that you'll be assigning. And if you flip them over, you'll kind of see, you know, this ship has 13 health. It's a size 4 ship. How many heat cubes? I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to look that up. I just got the game in the mail, so I'm still looking all that stuff up. Each of these have a passive ability. This is what you do at the start of your turn. I do believe that's how many cubes you get for your heat. But again, ship parts down here. This is what you can assign to your ship, and I'll show you the ship parts in a little bit. But there are 4 different variations for this model. And for that other model here, there's, again, 4 different variations on, you know, what you can do with this. So that's really cool. I like that out of the box, you've got a wide variety of different ways that you could build these and all that good stuff. Now, if you want to play solo, you can. Each of these, like, models, like these variants here, have, I believe, like 4 AI cards. So this is the Saber XR01 Fast Recon, Fast Recon, Fast Recon, Fast Recon. Now there's the Light Bomber. So if you're going to play against the AI, and the AI is flying the Saber XR01 Fast Recon, it will use these AI cards to maneuver and behave. On the opposite side, whenever you draw an AI card for their turn, there's a bunch of logic stuff going on. If it range 2, then it'll do this. Otherwise, it'll do this. This is probably the hardest part for me, is still like figuring out the logic, the iconography, really. Like this one's actually 2 things instead of just 1. This is if are you being targeted by missiles? If not, can you attack? Like, are you in range to actually hit them? If so, then you can perform this attack here. Because there's a separate anti-missile thing in this game, which makes no sense to you right now, but it will. So you're going to go right down this list and take various actions with the AI, and this is how many actions it gets to perform on its turn. Critical hits may disable some of these things, all that good stuff. So there are AI cards, which are kind of cool, and you know, depending on the variant model you pick, you'll have different AI cards. I love that. I think that adds so much replayability to the game. So we've got the AI decks over here. I'm just going to put them off to the side. And these are the different variants. I'll put those off to the side. I'm going to bring the box into view. This is what basically everything came in. Now, I will note that there was a problem with one of these counters here. This is the health/evasion tracker. Health is tracked on the top via 2 different wheels here. There's a wheel there and a wheel there. And then evasion, your evasion score is tracked here. Unfortunately, this little black connector thing broke on this side, so yeah, I'm kind of screwed. I have to maybe buy some super glue and then try and put that in. So for now, I'm gonna have to track health. Like it's either gonna be a 0 or a 1 probably, because these ships don't have a whole lot of health. So I mean, at least I can track 0 through 9 on here, and then I'll just have to remember that this was either a 0 or a 1. Anyway, so that's a way to track health for the different ships. There are other tokens in here. Like these blue ones are beacons. They're only for particular scenarios. Speaking of scenarios, the rulebook is fairly big. I just got to warn you on that. It's 38, 39 pages. But you can choose different terrain layouts. Like if you have a 3x3, you're supposed to pick a 3x3 area, like a map, and then put obstacles down. So you can do different obstacle setups, scenario last stand, scenario asteroid scramble, beacon rush. That's what those little tokens are for. So yeah, there are a couple of scenarios in the rulebook should you want to mess with those. But anyway, getting back to all this, if you're playing with more than 2 ships, you can use these ID tokens, and they slot into the base, supposedly. Yes, right here. So you slide them right in. I mean, there's a little hole here. You just slide them right in. So now the ship is number 2. So the number 2, matching number 2 token would go on the card, so you know whose was whose. And if you're playing like a 2v2, that might be necessary because, you know, just to keep track of who's gone, that kind of thing. Also, in X-Wing, you had various maneuver templates. You've got something similar here with how these operate. Primarily, and I'll give you a quick like overview of it. So let's just use, I guess, this one as an example. Okay, so forward facing are these arrows here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit so you can see this better. These are heat cubes, by the way. You're going to put them on ship parts as you take actions, and you have to clear all the heat cubes before you can actually take an action. That particular action again. So there's two ways to, like, two distances that you're moving in this game. It's either short or long. That's what this is. So to move short, you would snugly fit that like that so that the S is right there. You hold this in place, you pick this up, and you move it to the other side. X-Wing veterans will know how that typically works. So that's short move. If you want to do a long move, just rotate that up like that so that the long is against these arrows here. Hold that, pick it up, move it over, and do that. You don't have to be so obsessive compulsive with it, but I am because I play X-Wing a lot, or used to. So that's the two different ways to move. You can also rotate in this game. So this line here and this line here represent, I believe it's 45 degrees. So if you want to rotate your ship, you could do something like, there's actually notches. It'll actually click a little bit as you're doing this. And if you hear rattling, it's not because I did something wrong. This cockpit actually opens and there's a little person inside. It rattles around in there. So if you hear rattling, it's because, yes, they gave you a little person to put in the cockpit. Same with the other ship. So that's interesting. Anyway, so yeah, so to rotate your ship, you could do something like that. So those are the primary ways to do it. There is like a U-turn in this game. X-Wing vets, will become somewhat familiar with this too. The Corrigan turn, K-turn, S-turn, whatever. So, it would be something like that. Like a 180-degree kind of thing. So those are the primary ways that ships will be moving, and you'll be using these maneuver templates to do it. There are other tokens in here. You can fire missiles at your opponent. There's like light, heavy, and something else. Like there's 3 different tiers of missile, and they all do different things. So there are missiles in here. These are extra ship parts I received, and here is a special tool that you get in case you have to remove a part without breaking it. You can kind of just, it's like a little flathead screwdriver. It's plastic. You just scoop up. So that there's a tool for that. And these are extra parts. I'm assuming they go with some of the ship parts that are in this deck here. Speaking of ship parts, let's take a quick look at that. There is a ready side and a broken side. As players score critical hits on their opponent, typically dice are rolled to see which ship part is destroyed, but certain abilities may allow you to choose which enemy part to get rid of. And so there's all these different parts. And in X-Wing, you had like proton torpedo upgrades. And this pilot had a special elite skill that they could equip. These ships have a chassis ability, and then they have ship parts. That's how that works. And again, you can equip, I believe, up to 6 ship parts, and they have to be specific types. So this is like I believe it's armor, for example. It's like a gear. There's some with the gear symbols. There's some with a cockpit, engine, wings. Same thing with the Scarab. And you're gonna get 6 of these using your preset loadouts over there. And you're going to create your ship. And we'll see that in a little bit, but I wanted to at least expose you to that. So if you want to expand your game further, here's a quick look at the different expansions that might be out there. Keep in mind that I was looking at these. Unfortunately, buying the ships, they don't come with these stands. So if you want to buy 2 more ships, for example, you have to buy a stand expansion pack, which I'm not too thrilled about that, but it is what it is. So there are ways to expand this. There are other fighters, other ships out there. I don't know what they are. I would love to be sent copies, hint, 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 so I can show those off too. But if you're looking to expand your game, just head to the official website and you can check them out for yourself. So this is kind of sort of what your area will end up looking like once you pick a ship and you get all of the parts that it's supposed to get. So if you flip this particular card over, the preset build, you'll see that these particular parts are needed to fly this particular ship. Again, you are able to mix and match as you become better at this game. So as far as like setting up your area, you're going to take the 6 ship part cards that correspond to that. And you're also going to take as many heat cubes as is the number up here. I was correct about that earlier. 7 is how many heat cubes that you are allotted for your particular pull. And heat cubes are really important because it's like kind of like worker placement. You're going to be assigning these cubes to various ship parts to perform their actions. So at the beginning of your turn, the first thing you're going to do is your chassis action, and that's what this start of turn here is. You're going to set your evasion value to 2. That comes into play whenever someone's trying to shoot at you, and you might see that a little bit later. Again, we'll pretend that this is a 1 right here, and we're looking at 15. So 15 is the amount of hit points that belongs to this particular fighter. But anyway, so you're going to set your evasion to 2, and you can clear up to 5 blue and or red cubes from your cards. Now, you don't see them here, but there are red cubes, and they belong to the supply. There's more outside. Some of these actions require both blue cubes and red cubes. And you don't have to have red cubes in your personal inventory. You'll never get them in your personal inventory. Rather, you'll take them from the supply. Red cubes represent like heat that is very dangerous to have on these cards, because if an opponent hits you with a critical hit, and if you have heat on that part, if it gets disabled, you take extra damage. The heat comes off, but you take extra damage. So by performing these more dangerous maneuvers, there's a slight risk that this could become disabled, the red cubes get taken off, and you get, well, extra damage. So that's bad. Oh, by the way, the front part of these cards are like the active side, and the back part of these sides are the like broken side. And in order to repair them, you have to assign so many blue cubes to this, and then you get to flip it back over. All right, so getting back to how a turn typically plays out, you're going to, again, set your evasion to 2. You're going to clear 5 cubes from your cards. You can, 2 from here, 3 from here, 1 from here, whatever combination that you want. And then you must move, but you may turn. So there's like, you may turn and then you must move. So I don't have to turn if I didn't want to, but I could, for example, turn, it says 1 tick. I can either go left or right. So I could tick it like one, this way, or I can tick it this way. And then I could do a long move, which, as you saw earlier, was simply lining that up like so and moving the ship from one end to the other. You must move, but you may turn. That's the big thing there. Once you get through your chassis action, you can start using the parts that you have, and that's where these cards come into play. You'll be able to assign cubes that you have in your stash here that are not on cards to the cards in order to do things. But if you already had, let's say I had this blue cube on here from last turn and I didn't vent it off, I cannot use this card until all of the cubes are off of it. So that's part of the strategy in this game, is like, okay, I've got 6 blue cubes out here. Which do I clear off? What part can I do without for this particular turn? There's a lot of different strategies, and each part here does something different. This is a reaction, for example. When you perform an attack action, I can spend 1 or 2 power on this part to re-roll that many dice. So I can re-roll dice, but I have to spend power to do it. This one has 2 different actions. I can only choose one, however. I can either do this, which is like the more powerful move, and this represents the ability to like sidestep, I guess. So you could like strafe. So you could, sidestep by putting this S on, not on the main arrow, but the one corner to it, like closer to it. And you, without changing the orientation of the model, you can keep it like that. So you're actually able to like strafe and sidestep in this game, kind of like in, the Battlestar Galactica series. So that's kind of cool. So you can actually sidestep with that, or strafe, whatever it's called, and it's a short move. And then you can also turn. but you have to put 2 blue cubes and a red cube from the supply onto this card, and like I said, that's dangerous. Or you can opt for the lesser move here, which is just gain an evasion. If you think you're about to take some damage at the end of your turn because of various things, your evasion does not reset until the beginning of your next turn. So if you think your opponent's about to ambush you on their next turn, you may want to increase your evasion. And again, some of these other ship parts do a lot of different things. This is the jump engine. Lots of different abilities here. There's the 2, and there's this is great maneuverability, but it's really expensive to play. As far as like weapons are concerned, here's a couple to look at. The autocannon, assuming that you're in the forward 45 degree, or the enemy is within the 45 degree arc, any part of it. And if it's in range 2, and again, range 2 is representative of this. It can't be in range 1. So like if this were the case, and the enemy were here, this is range 1. Like, the enemy is within range 1 here. This is where range 1 cuts off, and then range 2 is over here. So I would not be able to play this autocannon because the enemy is too close. But if they were at range 2, I could then roll 4 dice, and the target to hit is 2 plus the enemy evasion. So in that case, let's say the enemy's evasion score is 3 right now. I'd have to take 2 plus 3 is 5. That means I would have to roll 4 dice, and on a 5 or better, each of those dice will do 1 damage. That's how that all works out. So evasion is very important because it adds a modifier to the chance to hit. There's also anti-missile. Some of these weapons will have an anti-missile. There's a special attack in this game where, so as long as, say, your opponent is in your forward 180 degree arc and at range 2 and 3, you can spend this much power, a lot of red heat there, to fire 4 of those type of missiles. And again, there's 3 different missiles in the game. Actually, there's 4, but torpedo is not available in the core game. There's light, heavy, heat, and torpedo. And again, that's expansion stuff. So missiles behave a little differently. They just automatically get assigned to the enemy. There are tokens for them in the box. So if I were to just grab a couple as an example, I would say, okay, so this is pretend that's a green one. So I would just say, okay, I'm going to shoot some missiles at you, and they're on you now. And you're like, oh, so like they're on you for a while. Like, so at the end of the opponent's turn, they will hit. But before then, the enemy has a chance to shoot them down. If they happen to go through one of these asteroid fields, they get a free roll against these kinds of missiles in order to shoot them down. These tokens will tell you, how much damage they do. For example, so that's 5 there, and then 1x, and then chance to hit is 0 plus evasion. So each missile does 2 damage, assuming that you can hit it. So you're going to roll 1 die for each missile in this case, yeah. So, and the chance to hit, the quality of it is 5. The missile quality this is the most confusing part for me because I haven't played it yet, but missile quality is the chance that, like, that's its kind of like chance to hit when it's trying to be hit by enemy blasters. Getting back to this card, I know I'm probably confusing the heck out of you. These anti-missiles, in order to hit the missile, you're going to roll 1 die for every missile that is currently on you. Not at the enemy, but you have to be in range 1 of it. Obviously, you already are. Missiles are like already at range 1 when they fire them at you. And you get to roll 1 die for every missile that's assigned to you. And you have to roll equal to or greater than the missile's quality. And getting back to this token again, we see that the quality for this green missile is 5. Now, so it might be, I'd have to roll a 5 or better in order per die to take down these missiles. But if the missiles hit, then, they do, you're going to roll 1 die for each missile assigned to the enemy. Their chance to hit is 0 plus the enemy evasion, and they do 2 damage per hit. So again, the iconography, I think, is the most confusing part of this game. It's the most challenging to get through. So bear with me as I learn all of that stuff. But that's a quick overview. You're either going to shoot them and do immediate damage with like autocannons, or you're going to just assign missiles to them, and the enemy has some time to shoot them down, get into an asteroid cloud or whatever before they actually hit. Now, again, assigning missiles to someone doesn't mean they will automatically hit. The person that fired the missile still has to roll. As I mentioned here on the back of here, you still have to roll at the end of the enemy's turn to see if they actually hit or not. So there's multiple opportunities to shoot this thing down. But note, it's 5 damage for this particular missile type. I think that's the heavy missile. 5 damage per missile that hits on this, which is pretty crazy. So missiles can be pretty devastating. So yeah, that's a quick look at what everyone's player area will look like. They will have their assigned ship chassis card, which has a special ability on it, and their health and all that stuff. Then they have the ship parts, and again, during their turn, they'll start assigning these cubes to their ship parts after they do their chassis action and try to do more things to maneuver and all that good stuff. At the end of a player's turn, that's where any missiles that are assigned to you, you have to activate and take care of. There may be other end of activation effects that may be part of the expansions, but I'm not exactly sure. Just to recap everything I just said, this is kind of a snapshot of what a typical player does on their turn. So feel free to pause that if you'd like to see that more in greater detail. All right, real quick, I removed my 3x3 mat. The felt is just a better material overall. It doesn't reflect light as much, and there was a lot of shadow with that mat, so I got rid of it. Anyway, just pretend that we're in a 3x3 environment. We've used our range rulers to measure out the obstacles the way they're supposed to. Again, this is all example purposes. In fact, I have to preface everything by saying I've never actually played this game yet. This is just my usual first impressions kind of thing, first game. I might get a rule wrong or two, but as I always say, I'm here to spread awareness, have some fun, and show off some really cool games. And this one so far, I'm really digging it. Big X-Wing fan, and by extension, this is a lot of fun too. Anyway, so let's go ahead and pretend like we're starting out. We're going to face off against the AI. The AI just gets the AI deck cards of the type that they chose. They don't have any ship parts to worry about. They do gain heat, but not in the traditional way. They do have some special abilities here, but typically there's 4 AI cards per model. When you're down to your last one, you're supposed to take that and shuffle everything back together. So there's always going to be like 3 shuffle, 3 shuffle, 3 shuffle. That way, by process elimination, you don't know what's going to come up next if you've memorized those cards. I certainly haven't. I set his health dial to 13 and his evasion to 3. We'll always change that when that comes up. The player always takes the first turn, and to set up, you're going to pick a spot that just so that your back is along the edge of the map. So I could do something like this, for example. And I'm going to now perform my chassis. My enemy is not on the board yet, so I'm not going to do a whole heck of a lot. So the start of my turn, I'm going to set my evasion to 2, is what that is. So I'm going to take my dial. Is it my evasion 2? Yes, it is. And by the way, that's 15 health. That's what that hole is. It's a 1. Okay, I also have 7 blue cubes and all my ship parts down here. Typically, they wouldn't be out here on the board, but for camera and example purposes, this is what we're doing. I can remove 5 cubes from all of my ship cards. I don't have any. And now I can rotate if I want to, and then I have to long move. So what I could do is, I don't know what my enemy's going to be doing, but maybe I want to possibly get into this cloud. So I might, do something like this. I might tick myself and face this way. It's optional turn. And then I'm going to long move per the card. So I'm going to do something like this. Now, it's worth mentioning that when you overlap an obstacle, you gain its benefit. But in order to gain its benefit again, you have to completely leave the obstacle and then come back to it. You just can't hop a little forward and retain that benefit. In this case, the benefit is take 1 heat of your choice off of your cards. That's kind of nice. So it's a free heat removal in addition to the 5 that you normally get at the beginning of your turn. So I've done my turn. I've done my mandatory move. I didn't have to turn, but I did. And I did my mandatory straight long move. And now I have the ability to do various things here. I don't want to spend too much heat. And I kind of like the position that I'm in because I have no idea what he's going to do. So the wings, I could strafe that way. I mean, maybe I should turn in preparation for what he's about to do. Maybe do a quick... I might do this wings. I might just assign this and get a free evade just to do that. So I'm going to put a blue cube on this half and just increase my evade from 2 to 3. The table's, like, again, this for example purposes, this is kind of close quarters. It may not actually be this close in a 3x3 map, but I have a feeling he's just going to be able to hit me. Other things I might be able to do is maybe I'll turn a little bit to the left. I didn't have to in the beginning, but I did. Maybe I'll reposition myself this way, so maybe I'll do that. I'll go ahead and put another blue cube on this and then rotate. One click. Again, X-Wing people are like shaking their heads. How could you bump the model? Oh my God. Yeah, I know. Normally I'm more careful. These models are just so bulky. Not that I'm complaining. They look nice, but they're very bulky. They're like playing with like the Millennium Falcon and the Decimator from Star Wars. Anyway, I mean, I could move. Do I really want to move? No, I kind of want to not get a lot of heat. This is a missile pod. He's not even on the table. So we'll just call it quits there. Are there any end of turn effects? No. So now the AI, and this is special to the AI, he's going to roll a die. On a 1, 2, or 3, he appears in the opposite corner closest to us. And a 4, 5, or 6, it'll appear like in the middle, and then a 7, 8, or is it a flame? Let me take a look here real quick. Pretty sure that's how it is, just to make sure I got it right. There's like 3 pages dedicated to this, so I just want to make sure. Yeah, 7, 8, and the flame. There's no 9. So I was like, what, is there a 9? No. So yeah, it goes up to 8 like that. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and flame. I misspoke earlier. There is a 1 on the die. So it's going to start on one of those edges opposite of the player. So we're just going to roll the die and see where it is. And it's a flame. We'll get those out of the way. So let's just say it appears all the way up here like that. Actually, it's probably too far away, but... yeah, we'll do something like that. You guys can kind of see that. It's going to probably turn toward me anyway. And it's going to flip over its card. And it's going to set its evasion to 3. And it's already on 3. And then it's going to do this 1 click toward me. So I need to just toward me. As much as it can. It will, you can also opt not to fully turn if you don't want to. Like the player can partially click up to that 45 degree, like it doesn't have to be the full click. You can do a partial click up to that amount. The AI will do the same thing, but he's just going to sort of face me as best as he possibly can. I have my laser pointer thingy tool back there, so I'll just eyeball it for right now. That kind of looks like it's facing me. He didn't move the full click. This would have been the full click right here. But he did that, and now he's going to do a short move forward. So he's going to put that on his arrow thing. He's going to pick that up and move that in. There he goes. Okay. Really sloppy. I know. Okay, so now he's going to perform 3-part actions. That's what this blue 3 is. And we're going to go down the list, right down the list, and see what this is. Is the enemy range 2, 3, or 4 plus? The answer is yes. I mean, this is, to me, that's like a range 2 deal, 3 deal. Yeah, that's 3. If I had to eyeball that. So that's range 3, because this is 2 and it's not in. So I'm at range 3 probably. So is the answer yes? He's going to long move and increase his evasion by 1. Now it's worth mentioning the AI will not repeat the same action twice on the turn. So it will never do this again for this particular turn. So it's going to long move, something like this. And it enters the asteroid field there. And then it increases its evasion by 1 per the card. So it's up to 4 now, which is pretty high. Okay, so now it does 2 more moves. It's going to look at this one because it can't do this anymore. It'll look at this one. Does the number of missiles assigned to it Will it do, are there any missiles assigned to it? And if so, will they do 9 or more damage? That's what this is. If the answer is no, then it'll attack with this line. Is the enemy within range 1? Am I in range 1? We'll go ahead and use the short one. It is not. It is not within range 1. So it's going to skip that entire thing. There's no missiles assigned to it, and it's not within range 1 to perform a regular attack. Is the enemy within range 1? It is not. So I am not. So it doesn't do any of these. Is the enemy in the back arc? No, it's not. I am not in its back arc at all, like this entire arc here. Otherwise, it does 2 evade. So it's going to increase its evasion by 2. My God, this thing is just going to be a nightmare. It's even in an asteroid field, so whenever you go to fire against it, if you're not in that same obstacle, that increases the amount of evasion it has. There is a quick guide to that, I think, back here. So this is a long dotted line, which is hard cover. -1 total damage. So if I damage this thing, it's going to take -1 total damage, whatever it is, which is nasty. The soft cover, which is like what I'm in, there's these little, it's hard to see. I'll zoom in a little bit. There's these little circular dotted lines. That's soft cover. That's hard cover. That's soft cover. The hard and soft covers do different things. So it's in hard cover right now. It's going to resist damage. It's really resistant to a lot right now. But it can't do anything else. In that case, I believe it removes 1 heat per extra move that it could have done. But it has no heat on it right now. It really only gains heat when the card tells you to. Certain actions will, grant heat on the side here. Like this is the ship part. And it'll say maybe a red 2 or whatever. It'll tell you how many red cubes to add, and then it'll remove those whenever it can. So that's its turn. That's what it did. And we're going to put this card into the discard pile because it can't do anything else. We're going to go back down again. It doesn't have any of these. None of these are, this is already done, this is already done. It can't do any of these 3, so his turn is over. His extra turn is converted into a heat removal, but he doesn't have any heat to remove. So that goes into like a discard pile off to the side. And we just continue with our turn. And maybe we'll do 1 or 2 more turns as an example just to see some combat. I can't guarantee it'll be that exciting, but So at the beginning of my turn, I'm going to set my evasion to 2, and I'm going to remove 5 cubes. I'm going to just remove these. And I'm going to possibly rotate left or right and then do a long move. So here's the thing. I could rotate this way and then long move toward him. But my concern is, again, he's got high evasion. His evasion does not reset until the beginning of his next turn. So he's got an evasion of 6, and he's going to take less damage. So I'm really tempted to, possibly try and juke around him and not turn. I have never seen the strategies for this game, nor do I really know what to expect. What I could do is maybe launch some missiles at him, and he's already in the asteroid field, so I don't think he would get a free roll on it right now. He would have gotten a free roll upon entering it, but on his next turn, again, you do not retain the effects of that on your next turn. You have to exit and re-enter. So I might just spend a blue energy here. Am I within range 2? Or 2 or 3, first off? I am now... Yeah. Okay. Actually, did he have the ability to shoot me? No, that was range 1. Okay, yeah, okay. So he didn't have any range 2 abilities on his card, but I do. I've got, within the forward half, is he in the 180 degree arc? This is 180 degrees right here, like these sides forward. He's clearly in it, and he's at range 2. So I'm going to shoot 4 missiles at him. So I'm going to put a blue cube on here along with 3 red cubes from the supply. If I don't vent these and I take a critical hit on the system, I will take 3 damage because in addition to my normal damage, I'll take 3 extra damage because there's 3 red cubes on here, which is bad. So I'm just going to assign 4 of these, and they won't actually hit him until the end of his next turn. So he's got some time to shoot them down, but I'm trying to keep him busy. I forgot to do my long move first, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm not going to rotate into him. I should have done this first before assign or doing that. So we're going to do that first, like that. I'm not going to rotate. He's still within my front 180. He's still within range 2 to 3, I'm assuming. Yeah, it's close enough. It might be range 1, but let's just say, you know what? You know what I could do? Let's do this. I know this is kind of cheaty, but if I move forward, I'm going to be within range 1 of him. What if I rotate like this, and then I move like long this way? And I know that's kind of encroaching on my cards a bit. And the question is now, is that arc, you're not really supposed to do this prior, but like this, I'm kind of showing examples here. Yeah, that's not, if I did that, I'd be out of the 180 arc there. So I can't really rotate either. I'm just showing you different examples. Technically, you're not supposed to do that while you're playing. But let's say for example purposes, I was at range 2, even though I'm not. At least I don't think so. If this is connected, yeah, all right. I can't assign these missiles to him right now. That sucks. That sucks. Okay. All right. So let's just take that back. I am now too close to him and I can't do it. All right. What else can I do at range 1? Is there anything I can do at range 1? If I can find a way to get into range 2 again, I could pop off those missiles, but I have to figure out a way to like turn around, and maybe I do like a long and then a loop there, like a 180 degree. I think I've got arc on him here. Yeah, so if I did shoot at him, it's not going to do a whole lot of damage. I've got these auto cannons, and it's a 2 plus his evasion, which is 6. So I'd have to hit him. My dice would have to be 8 or higher to hit him, which is kind of rough. And it's at range 2 though, 1 or 2. You know what? Yeah, range 1 or 2. I don't think it's worth wasting that. I think we get into a better position and then shoot, and possibly with those missiles, because he's in a great position. What if we find a way to like loop around him, if that's even a thing? Can we do that? I think what we do is, let's go ahead and use, let's just go all in. We'll do our jump engine, and we're going to do the bottom half. We're going to assign 3 blue cubes to this and 2 red cubes, and we're going to long and then loop. So we'll do this instead. So we're going to do that. And okay, that didn't go as far as I wanted it to. I was hoping just to turn. So, and now can I rotate? I can, using my maneuvering fins. I'm going to use 1 blue to tick this way once. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to do that and rotate once. So, blue cube there. We're going to rotate. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now I'm not shooting through that asteroid field. If I measure closest base to closest base, it does not touch this. So he no longer, like, even though he's on it, I can still hit him with my arc without touching this, which is kind of nice. So maybe I do take a shot at him. He no longer has that extra protection from this. His evasion is still really high, but at least I'm, you know, I'm not fighting the asteroids. Is there something else I might want to do? I don't know. There's also flank damage in this game. If you're within the entire 180 degree of the enemy, the back arc, then you get a bonus. And I think that bonus is -1 chance to hit or something like that. Also, if you're directly within his back arc, there's a little, like, I'm going to put my finger here so you can see the back of it. It's like a little blast symbol there. If you're completely within that, enemy's back arc, then you automatically do 1 damage, even if plus whatever other damage you would normally do. So there are some advantages to being behind your opponent completely, which is kind of nice. All right, so you know what? Let's just have fun. And can I strafe this way? I can actually. This is going to take everything I have, but at least I'm getting. But then I won't have any. I won't have any blue cubes left. I could maneuver all I want, but I'm not going to have any blue cubes left to actually fire my autocannon, which is kind of unfortunate. I mean, I could just fire my autocannon now, or I can just kind of hang there and hope that he doesn't like turn into me and just destroy me. His evasion is 8, so I really... or 6 plus... His evasion is 6, and if I were to fire my autocannon, it'd be 2 plus 6. The odds of me hitting him are just really bad right now, so I don't really want to take that risk. I feel like I need to set myself up. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to do that one to get 1 evasion. So I'm going to increase my evasion up to 4, because this is going to be really bad. And unfortunately, like, that's all I can do. I really wanted to fire my missiles, but I was too close to him to do it. The missiles wouldn't have taken effect until next turn. That would have been perfect, except I was just slightly out of range. All right, so getting to him, let's go ahead and take his turn. He's going to draw a card, and he's going to set his evasion to 3. This is what I'm talking about. He resets his evasion on his turn, so now it's 3. Those missiles would have had an easier time hitting him now. And now he's going to rotate, it looks like away from me by 1, and then do a short move. That little down blue arrow means away from. So he's actually going to move away from me, which is kind of strange. So he's going to do, he's going to rotate that way, and then move a short by 1, something like that. Okay. And he does not gain the benefit of this again. Missiles can like hit him freely now, but there's still that, like, if I shoot through this, there's that extra harder chance to hit. When you shoot through an obstacle, that evasion score goes up. Anyway, so getting back to his card, he gets 3 actions this turn, and he's going to always move toward me, short move, move toward me, short move. Okay, so he's going to rotate. Let's do this way. He's going to rotate toward me, short move. And then he's going to do that again. He's going to rotate toward me by 1 click and short move. So he's on this ice cloud. He immediately gets to vent heat if he had any, but he doesn't. So that was one of his 3 actions. And this one is, does he have any missiles on me? No. Or, yeah, do I have any missiles on him? No. And am I in his forward arc? No. So he moves on to the next one. This is kind of like another attack thing. Am I in his forward arc here? This really, really small forward arc? No. Next, am I in his side? Yes. So he's going to turn toward me twice, which, oh no. Okay, so he's going to go click, and then click again. Okay, there's that. Okay. And he did the first one, he did this one, so now he's going to revisit this one. Am I in his forward arc at range 1? The answer is, well, before I bumped him, he might have been, but yeah, I can lay my, yeah, so it is. He's there. So he's going to do this one. He's going to roll 6 dice, and he needs a 2 plus my evade to hit for 1 damage each. So my evade is a 4. So he needs to roll a 4 or better on those dice. So he's going to roll these. And he's got 8, 7, 7, 6, 2, 5. So 5 of his shots land. And I go from 15 to 10. So I take 5 damage from that salvo. So yeah, 10. Wow. That was kind of harsh. I have to say, that was kind of harsh. There's no red cubes listed here, so that's that. And he took 3 actions this turn, or did he? Yeah, he went this one, and then this one, and then this one. Okay, so that was his turn. His turn is over. That goes into a discard pile. And now at the start of my turn, I have to set my evasion back to 2, and I have to vent 5 things, 5 cubes. I kind of want to vent. I'm at range 1. I know I can hit him before moving away, I suppose. Well, here's the thing. I have to move first. I have to long move. And if I long move, I'm into the same problem that I was before. I'm way too close to him. I need to be farther away if I want to do this missile attack. So part of me is like, maybe rotate this way, go that, and then turn around and try and get him. But I've really overextended myself here on this jump engine. So let's get rid of that one and that one. That's 2. And then 3, 4. And then 5. So I cannot use my jump engine this turn because I've got blue cubes on it. All right, so with that said, I have the option to rotate, and then I have to long move. Do I rotate? I mean, do I just rotate right into him and then blast him at range 1? I think maybe I do, because he's forced to move on his turn, and collisions could cause some damage. So I think I'm going to rotate toward him like that, and I now have to long move. And I don't know if I can fit without doing that. All right, our bases aren't touching, which is good. This is going to be a little tight. That's the problem with large models. Okay, it's hard to tell, but for example purposes, let's just say I just fit in there without hitting him. I'm pretty sure I didn't hit him, but you never know. So I'm like right up on top of him at range 1. And now I can do my part actions. And I'm going to use my autocannon. I'm within range 1 or 2 of them. I get to, for 2 power, roll 4 dice. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So 2 power, 1, 2. I'm going to roll 4 dice. And his evasion is a 3 right now. And I need a 3 plus 2. I need a 5 or better to hit him. And I got a 5, 2, 8, 1. So 2 of my shots hit him, and he takes 2 damage, so he's down to 11. Okay, so that was one of my actions. I did the autocannon here. Can I do anything else? I'm too close for this. Can I somehow just... If I let him run into me, that could be a problem. He's built for ramming. This particular model is great at ramming. During a collision or ram, reroll one of your dice that misses. Yeah, in the case of a collision, both players will roll dice based on the size of their ship. And I think it's down 4 maybe, or a size 4 ship, yeah. So we're each going to roll like 4 dice, and then we're going to take damage based off of the dice results. So I could spend 1 or 2 power on this part to reroll that many dice. I could reroll dice since I'm not going to do a whole lot of else. So maybe I reroll the 1 and the 2 and try and get some extra damage in there. So I'm going to spend 2 power to reroll 2 dice and see what that does. It's a 5 and a 1. The 5 would hit. So I'm going to do 1 more damage to him, and he's now down to 10. Too bad it's not a critical, though. Criticals... have the ability to do a number of things. And I'll just quickly show you this. On a critical, if you roll a blank through 3, then he loses an action for his turn. If you roll a 4 through 6, he loses an action and takes a damage. If you roll a 7 through 8, he loses an action for his next turn and takes 2 damage. If you roll a flame token, you get a critical token you can assign to him, and you can either... you can pretty much at any time cash that in to prevent him from doing a particular action for that entire turn, which is kind of great. He also takes extra damage if he has any heat on him as well. So that's what a critical would have done had I got lucky enough to do that. But so the question is, like, I've got 1 power left, and I wouldn't know what to do with it, to be honest. I'll do this, and I'll add an evade to myself, and I'll push myself up to 3 evade. But that's about it. Okay. I might have had too much evade from the previous turn, but again, example. All right, so the enemy is going to do its thing, and this will be the last example turn because I think I've shown enough for this particular video. I'll be happy to do a full game in a future video. So it's going to, at the start of its turn, do 3, evasion 3, and then it's going to rotate toward me and do a short move, which runs into me. So he's going to run into me. He's going to move forward a little bit like that. And now we have to roll some dice equal to our ship size and class and all that stuff. And if I remember correctly, collisions, Place the ship's base fully within the play area, touching the edge. I do not know what happens when the AI does it, though. That's one thing I didn't actually read, because whenever you collide with someone, you can decide with your ship where to put it. It has to keep the orientation, but he gets to decide where to put it. So, yeah. Activation, ship deployment, specific icons, card front, card back. Looking for AI collision. Perform chassis, perform part, perform actions, resolve, discard. Maybe it's on here, but AI. Okay, AI ship collisions. AI ships do not roll for damage when colliding with other AI ships on their team. Oh, that's nice. It is always positioned on the opposite side of the other ship's base in a straight line. So it has to go here. We still have to roll for damage and stuff. But again, I'm eyeballing it. This is not the ideal way to do this. You'd want to the ship models are even getting each other's way. It's just, yeah. All right, so we'll just do that. But it's supposed to go exactly on the other side in the same orientation that it was in. And then we just roll for damage at that point. And the way collisions work, overlapping. Place your ship in any position. Both ships roll dice equal to their size. Each result of a 5 or more inflicts 1 damage. So I'm going to roll 4 because that's my ship size, and his ship size is a 4 as well. I'm going to roll 4 and inflict that much damage. Well, 5, 1, 1, 3. I'm not doing a whole lot against this enemy, which is kind of bad, but he's now down to 9 health. Evasion does not kick in at this point. And now he's going to roll 4 against me. And he gets to re-roll 1 because of his special ability. And he got a flame token, which is great. 2 flame tokens. I'm screwed. I got 2 critical hits on that. And I don't know if criticals actually kick in when you're rolling for collision damage. That's another thing I really didn't look up all that closely. All right, so I looked it up. Yes, you do resolve critical hits on collisions. It's under the collisions section here. So yeah, I have to not only take some damage, he gets to re-roll a die too, right? 3, okay. So he does 2 damage to me, plus the criticals, which is ridiculous. And this is a great example. I'm down to 8 health. And now I have to roll some dice to see which of these get disabled. So this one is an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In that case, if it goes away from that, the AI gets something special, I believe. AI ships just dealing critical hits. If the part with the most cubes, if tied, the part with the fewest cubes. If tied, a part that cannot be repaired. So this is the most cubes, most cubes, most cubes. I guess I'll just pick one of these to do. So I'll disable my cockpit, and these come back to me. They're blue cubes, so I don't take any extra damage. This other flame that he had, I roll that, and it's a 2. So this gets disabled as well. That comes back to me. Not a great turn for me. I've got 2 disabled parts, and we're roughly equal in health with me kind of missing out. And he still has, that was just the beginning of his turn. He still has 3 actions that he can take, or 2 actions rather, two things. He's going to observe these one at a time. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. He is going to do that. He's going to click toward me twice. And depending on whether or not he's in range, he's going to do either that or that. It all depends. So, I know this was a rough and dirty look at a mock game, but that's kind of what you're getting into when you play this game. Based on what I've played so far, my first impressions are really good. My only concern really were these dials in my arthritic hands. These were a pain to put together. Putting these together, some of the pieces fit snugly and other ones didn't. So the assembly part of this and the assembly part of this was not fun for me, but if you're younger and healthier, then that's not going to bother you too much. But I love the idea of you getting various ship cards, and I love that there's an AI deck, and the AI is really challenging. I'm having a hard time as a new player, developing strategies for this and knowing what to do next. So I think that's going to come with time, just like I played X-Wing a gazillion times before I started understanding it. But yeah, so snap ship tactics.
Again, the core set will give you 2 of these ships. Expansions will give you more. Keep in mind you have to buy these bases in a separate expansion. So all in all, first impressions are really good. Snap ship tactics. And I concede to the AI for this round. I will be happy to play a full game with them, a proper game with them in a future video. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I will catch you all next time. Take care.